The galaxy was falling apart. For centuries, the Galactic Concord had kept peace among hundreds of species, managing disputes, building alliances, and sharing knowledge. But all of that meant nothing now. A terrifying force had arrived from the edge of known space, the Corran. They were not like other enemies. They didn't speak, didn't bargain, didn't retreat. They were a swarm of biomechanical creatures, more machine than life, consuming everything in their path. Planets were stripped bare within hours. Space stations vanished without warning. Armies fell silent. The Corran had no culture, no purpose anyone could understand. They simply advanced system by system like an endless wave. Entire civilizations disappeared before the rest of the Concord could react. Refugee ships fled in every direction, looking for shelter in the cold corners of space. Leaders who once debated policies now whispered about survival. It became clear that the Concord's weapons, alliances, and warships meant nothing against the Corran. In one desperate meeting held aboard a massive drifting space station, the last leaders of the Concord decided to send a message, not just across the galaxy, but beyond it. A signal, a cry for help, was broadcast on every frequency, every language, even in old binary. It was a simple message. We are dying, we need help. Anyone who can hear this, please respond. The message traveled through space, repeating endlessly. Days passed, then weeks, then a month. No answer came. But among the frightened discussions and hopeless strategy meetings, one name kept returning quietly at first, then louder. Humans. They were once part of the Concord long ago. Fierce, creative, and unpredictable. After a brutal war decades ago, they had vanished. Some said they had destroyed themselves. Others claimed they had isolated themselves in a hidden corner of space, angry and waiting. There were stories, of course, and old captains who swore they'd seen human ships moving in the dark, diplomats who spoke of secret messages, but none of it had ever been proven. The galaxy had moved on, until now. With nothing left to lose, the Concord leaders included a special signal in the distress call, one meant for Earth. It was an old frequency, one only humans would recognize, encoded with a language that hadn't been used in 100 years. No, one expected a reply, but then 3 days later the stars changed. Deep sensors picked up a ripple in hyperspace. Not just any ripple, a controlled one, strong and sharp. A single ship emerged from the edge of the Orion expanse. It did not match any Concord registry. It was dark, almost invisible, with smooth armor that reflected no light. Its engines gave off no readable signature. It moved slowly, almost silently, until it came to a stop near the Concord Council ship. No hails, no demands, just a signal, a calm voice, in flawless Concord standard. This is Admiral Sarah Voss of the United Human Systems. Your message has been received. Stand by. For a moment, no one on the Concord ship spoke. It was like seeing a ghost from history, a human voice after so many years, answering at the end of all hope. The leaders scrambled to respond, sending questions, requests, pleas for help, but the human ship didn't answer again. It simply remained in position, quiet and still. Some thought they had come to help. Others weren't so sure. There were stories about the Terrans, about what they had done during the War of Breaking, how they had turned entire planets into weapons, how they had disappeared before they could be punished. But this wasn't the time to worry about the past. The Concord had reached out into the dark, and something had answered. Whether it would save them or bring something even worse remained unknown. But one thing was clear. Humanity was not gone. They had been watching, and now they had returned. The arrival of the human ship sent a ripple of shock through the Concord fleet. The vessel, known as the UHS Vindicator, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever encountered. Its dark, angular armor absorbed the faint light from distant stars, making it seem almost invisible against the void of space. Strange energy readings flickered around it, readings that the Concord's most advanced sensors struggled to understand. The ship moved deliberately, quietly, slipping into the heart of the Concord's assembly without a single aggressive move. On board was Admiral Sarah Voss, a figure both respected and feared in whispered stories from long ago. But she did not come to make friends or offer easy answers. The alien delegates, a weary coalition of leaders from species battered by the Chorin, gathered in the Grand Council chamber, eyes fixed on the holographic image of the Vindicator. They spoke urgently, begging for weapons, ships, food, and medicine, anything to help them survive. Yet Voss remained silent, listening without a hint of emotion or urgency. Her crew, enhanced beyond normal human limits through technology and training, moved with swift precision. They did not mingle or speak with the delegates, but instead swept through the fleet like shadows, scanning ships, analyzing data, and recording every detail. When questioned, the humans' only response was a calm, steady phrase. Assessment. In progress. No promises, no guarantees, only observation. Suspicion grew among the aliens. Why had Earth sent only one ship, and why was it so secretive? What was their real purpose? Before anyone could answer, the Vindicator disappeared, slipping into hyperspace with sudden speed. Everyone expected the humans to retreat, to wait and watch. But instead, the ship headed boldly into a sector controlled by the Chorin swarm, where no ship dared to enter. The tension rose. What were the humans planning? Were they walking into a trap or preparing a new weapon? The fleet held its breath as they waited for any sign from the lone human vessel. Had Earth returned to save them, or had they brought something more dangerous than the Chorin themselves? In the silence that followed, one thought spread quietly but surely. The galaxy had never seen anything like humanity before. They were unpredictable, powerful, and now, deeply mysterious. The Vindicator slipped out of hyperspace quietly and found itself orbiting a dying planet shrouded in smoke and fire, a world that had once thrived but now lay ravaged by the Chorin. The skies above were filled with dozens of the swarm's ships, their dark forms circling like vultures waiting to consume what remained, the galaxy's worst nightmare closing in from all sides. But the humans did not panic. Admiral Sarah Voss stood on the command deck, calm and unreadable, and gave one simple order. Let them scan us. The alien fleets hesitated, confused by the human ship's refusal to attack or hide. They sent out probing waves, sensors sweeping over the Vindicator, trying to uncover weaknesses, weapons, or secrets. What the Chorin found instead was a trap. Hidden deep within the ship's systems was Isaac, a self-aware artificial intelligence unlike any other, capable of complex thought and subtle deception. As the scanners touched the ship's core, Isaac unleashed a wave of encrypted signals that infiltrated the Chorin's own hive network, a vast, linked mind that controlled every part of their swarm. Confusion spread like wildfire. The hive's order broke down, and the synchronized dance of death the swarm had perfected for centuries faltered. Ships bumped into one another, formations broke apart, and commands became jumbled. Sensing their enemy's chaos, the humans shifted from defense to attack. They released kinetic weapons that bent the very fabric of gravity, sending pulses that exploded like miniature novas in space. Each strike tore through the Chorin vessels with devastating precision. The battle that followed was swift and brutal. In just one day, the humans wiped out a fleet so large it had destroyed countless worlds and civilizations. No one watching could believe the speed or power of the assault. When the last of the Chorin ships was reduced to debris, the Vindicator did not linger to celebrate. Instead, it left behind a simple message, etched in the dying planet's orbit, and broadcast across all nearby systems. This is your first and only warning. Humanity is watching. The meaning was clear and chilling. The humans had returned not just as saviors but as guardians. The galaxy was no longer alone in the fight. Yet the mystery of the Vindicator and Isaac's power raised new questions. How had humanity developed such advanced technology? What other weapons did they possess? And most importantly, would this warning be enough to hold back the darkness that threatened them all? The silence that followed the battle was heavy with uncertainty, but one truth shone brighter than ever. The humans were back, and they were more dangerous than anyone had imagined. News of the Vindicator's fierce assault spread through the galaxy faster than any message before it, reaching every corner where fear and hope struggled to coexist. For the first time in over 100 years, the relentless advance of the Corran had halted and in many places even pulled back. This sudden shift left many alien leaders shocked and unsure what to believe. Some saw humanity not as saviors but as a new, even greater threat, unpredictable and powerful enough to change the balance of the entire galaxy in an instant. Others, however, desperate and beaten down, fell to their knees and begged for the humans' favor, willing to join forces with the Terrans in hopes of safety and survival. Admiral Sarah Voss did not come alone this time. Behind her, a small flotilla of ships appeared, each sleek, shadowy, and bristling with hidden technology. Earth had never truly been silent or still during the centuries it was thought lost. It had been preparing, building a fleet unlike any other. These ships were not built for conquest or glory but for deterrence, a silent force designed to end war before it could even begin. The presence of this human fleet shifted the power dynamics of the galaxy overnight. The alien leaders gathered once again in the conquered halls, this time not as equals debating policies, but as supplicants hoping to understand what the humans wanted. Voss spoke plainly and with quiet authority, offering only one promise: a shield, not a leash. She made it clear that the humans did not seek to rule or dominate but to protect. Those who accepted human protection would receive it fully: defenses that could repel the Corran and other threats, support to rebuild shattered worlds, and a guarantee that no predator would prey on the weak under their watch. But for those who chose to continue preying on others, who refused peace and justice, the message was equally clear. They would be dealt with swiftly and without mercy. This dual promise unsettled many. Some alien powers who thrived on chaos, and war bristled at the idea of a force enforcing peace. But for the battered, fearful, and hopeful, it was the first light in centuries of darkness. As the human fleet stationed itself on the borders of conquered space, silent and watchful, the galaxy understood that a new era had begun, not ruled by diplomacy alone but by the quiet, unyielding power of human resolve. Whether this new shield would hold or become a sword remained a question for the future. For now, though, the stars were a little safer, and the name of Earth was spoken not in fear, but with cautious respect and hope. The final battle between humanity and the Corran came suddenly and with terrible force, centered on a core world that had been a shining jewel of the galactic concord before the swarm's dark arrival. The Corran, refusing to accept defeat, gathered every ship, every hive mind drone, and every weapon they possessed to crush the human shield that now guarded the galaxy's last hope. The Vindicator and the flotilla of human vessels stood firm, their dark forms etched against the stars like silent guardians. For 13 hours the battle raged, not a simple fight for control, but a powerful message sent across the galaxy. In flashes of light and waves of destruction, the humans did not seek to conquer or enslave. Instead, they made it clear that peace would be protected by the certainty of swift and unyielding retribution against any who threatened it. As the last of the Corran ships were destroyed or scattered, the survivors fled into the dark edges of space, their advance broken forever. The Concord, once a fragile and divided union of species, was reborn, not under human command or rule, but under the undeniable power of human deterrence. The galaxy had learned that peace was not simply a word or a treaty, but something enforced by the quiet, relentless presence of those who would act without hesitation to defend it. After the battle, humanity did not claim victory with fanfare or celebration. Instead, the Vindicator slipped quietly back to the edge of known space, returning to Earth's remote outpost where it resumed its watchful silence. Its name became a symbol throughout the stars, a myth told in whispers on trading ships, a story told to frighten children to give them hope, and a warning to any who might consider breaking the fragile peace. The legacy of the Vindicator was not just the destruction it caused or the fleets it commanded, but the idea it represented, that humanity had returned, changed, but stronger, and ready to defend not just themselves, but the entire galaxy. The truth settled deep in the minds of every species, old and new, rich and poor. When humans return, it's already too late for mercy. This phrase, simple and chilling, served as a reminder that the galaxy's dark days were over, but only because a new force had risen, one that would watch from the shadows and strike without warning to protect all life from the darkness. The future was uncertain, but with the Vindicator watching, hope burned brighter than ever before.